You know, it has been a wet winter. We're taking a live look outside right now. We're seeing some rain out there. January was the rainiest that we've seen in this area in over a decade.
Yeah, and as we start to dry out, maybe get into our spring cleaning mode, all that moisture can mean dangerous problems for your home. Brian Thomsen here from AdvantaClean of Washington County with some expert advice on spotting and getting rid of mold. It is not a fun problem for homeowners.
No. But at the same time, it can be easily fixed. Some projects you can do on your own, and sometimes you got to call AdvantaClean.
Yeah, how much of a threat is it this year? I mean, we did see a lot of rain over the winter here.
We did, and mold doesn't have to be this huge threat, right? As long as you're keeping things dry. So regardless of if we have a really, really wet winter or if we don't, it really depends on how quickly you can get to the problem.
Okay, and you've brought some products in, just showing what people can use. I was telling you that we had a bathroom that had mold spots and I would spray it with bleach. And you told me that actually, because it would get rid of it temporarily, but then it would always come back. So what have you brought in here that would work better and be more maybe organic and not as harsh?
Oh, great question. So I brought in some of the things that you can actually get at your local box store, right? We use different products ourselves because usually we're dealing with much bigger projects, right?
Yeah.
So really the best thing I'd say you can get is just simple white vinegar. Spray it right on there, directly right on there. Wipe it off and then rinse it with a little bit of water, and usually you're good to go there.
Wow.
You can't use just the bleach water solution because yes, the bleach will make it look all pretty and nice, but there is that potential that the mold can come back because the bleach won't get to the root of the mold like vinegar will.
That's interesting. I didn't know that. I always figured, oh, bleach, you know, it's clean and everything. It smells clean, but maybe not. So what are some of the warning signs for people that there could be mold? I know a lot of times it's in places you don't see in your home, and that can be really bad.
Correct. Sometimes there'll be some health issues like hay fever or just some sinus issues, itching eyes, those kinds of things. But more often than not, when you suspect there's a mold issue, you're smelling a musty smell. You sometimes will even see some growth on walls or on carpets. And if that is the case, then you have a moisture issue. And that's really the first thing you need to identify and then attack the mold problem.
Okay, and then as far as, I mean, just what are some of the recommendations to prevent all that from happening in the first place? Because you don't want it to get out of control, obviously.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, most of the mold that we see are typically in attics and in crawl spaces, sometimes in like daylight basements like in Northeast Portland area. So you're not going to see the mold necessarily, right? So in attics and crawl spaces, you want to make sure that there's adequate ventilation. Make sure that your bathroom fans are venting outside the attic space, right? And make sure that your vents are open in your crawl space. It's an ongoing debate. Do I open them? Do I close them? But it's a good idea to open them to have good ventilation, at least in those two areas. In the home, frequent air exchanges. Open those windows, open those doors whenever you can to get fresh air intake in the house and flush out the stagnant air.
What are some of the dangers, though? I know this is one of those things that sometimes you do need to call the professionals to make sure you're taking care of this issue, because what can happen if you leave it?
Right. Well, mold can start to eat away at the wood in your home, right? But it can also produce health issues. So what's more important is the air quality in your home, because you're breathing all the time. So you want to make sure that you have healthy air, and taking care of the moisture issue will definitely maintain the structural integrity of your home, but also keeping that mold from growing and keeping your health in check.
All right, well, Brian, thank you so much for coming in and breaking this down. Glad to know that the white vinegar works. That's easy enough. The miracle liquid. For more on expert advice on fighting mold, of course, check out the story on Koin.com.